Okay, so we're getting to some fun stuff now. We are up to adding and subtracting fractions. Okay, so the thing is there's lots of different rules to remember for algebra. So you've got to remember you've got like terms when you're adding and subtracting. Multiplying, we can multiply anything and we collect up all the letters, and dividing, they cancel away. Now, adding and subtracting fractions, we need to get what is called a common denominator. Now, the easiest process to do that is to look at the two numbers on the bottom of your fractions, so the 2 and the 3 for this first example, and multiply those two numbers together. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so what I do is I'm going to turn my fractions into two more fractions over here that have a denominator of 6. Now, if you do something to the bottom of a fraction, you also have to do it to the top. So now I need to work out what the tops need to be. So I've multiplied these together. That's the first step. To find out the top, what I do is I multiply diagonally. 3 times x makes 3x. So that top one, I multiply it with the 3 down that way. And this x I multiply with that 2. So x times 2, or 2 times x, makes 2x. Okay? Now, once you've done that process, then we have a common denominator. And all you have to do to add those fractions is add the top together. 3x plus 2x. That makes 5x. But the bottom, you don't ever add them together. It's not 6 plus 6 makes 12. It is 6. Stays the same. So that's why you need the common denominator first, because it needs to stay constant on the bottom there. Okay, let's try the process again for example 2. So we start with these two numbers here. So the first thing we do is we multiply those two numbers together. So 4 times 5 is 20. 20, and this time it's a minus, that doesn't matter. 20. Then I multiply the 3k with the 5. 3 times 5 is 15k. And then I do the other diagonal. K times 4, or 4 times k, is 4k. Then I just subtract across the top. 15 minus 4 is 11k over 20. Done. Okay, example 3. Start by multiplying the bottom two numbers here. So we go 3 times 5 makes 15. So two fractions both have 15. Then we multiply the 4a with the 5. 4a times 5 is 20a. 4 5s are 20. And 2 times 3 is 6a. So we add the top together. 20a plus 6a is 26a over, the bottom doesn't change, 15. Okay, so hopefully that is starting to see, like, you can just repeat that process and it always works. The thing is, there is some other ways to do this. If we look at example number 4, first of all, I'm going to do it with the method I've been showing you. So the first thing we do is we multiply these two numbers together. 5 times 10 is 50. Okay, then we multiply diagonally. 6k times 10, so that's 60k. And 3k times 5 is 15k. Then we subtract 60k minus 15k, that's 45k over 50. Now what you will notice with this question is that there is actually a common factor of 5. 45 and 50 can both be divided by 5. So you could type that in your calculator, or you could just divide each of them by 5 to get 9k over 10 as the best, most simplified answer. Now, that's if you always want to stick with that process, which probably most of you will, to be honest. But if you're willing to have a try, there is a shorter method for these types of questions. So this is like an alternative. This is an or. You can do it this way. So for this question, our denominators, let's get rid of this because I'm starting again. The denominator was 5 and 10. The lowest number that the lowest common multiple of both of those numbers is actually 10. I don't need to go quite as high as 50. So I could have just gone to 10. Okay, so that means that this second fraction, it already had a 10 there. So I actually don't need to change it at all. It can stay as a 3k. And the first fraction, I've gone from a 5 to a 10. I've times that by 2. So I times the top by 2. 6 times 2 is 12k. Then the denominators are the same, so I can subtract 12k minus 3k is 9k over 10. So you can see I get the same answer in less steps, but it does require you to recognize that there is a smaller denominator that you could have started with. Okay, so some of you might prefer just to go with the trusty, reliable method, knowing that it's going to work for you every time, and just remember that you will also have to simplify your answers in those ones as well. Okay, so let's just stick with the first method for now, because I think that's what will be most comfortable for most of you. Let's go on to example 5. Okay, a over 6 minus a over 9. Okay, so there is a smaller denominator, but sticking with our method, we can go 6 times 9 is 54 for both of them. Okay, then times in diagonally. A times 9 is 9a, and a times 6 is 6a. All right, 9a minus 6a is 3a over 54. So what we need to do is, we know that we can simplify that. Just type in 3, ignore the a part. On your calculator, just type in 3 over 54 to simplify that for you, and you will get a 1 over 18. Now we don't need to write the 1 because we do have that a sitting there, so it would be like a 1a, just a, over 18 would be the simplified answer. Question 6. Okay, we start by multiplying those denominators together. 3 times 4 is 12. Then we multiply diagonally. 2x times 4 is 8x, and x times 3 is 3x. Adding 8x plus 3x is 11x over 12. Okay, so most of your questions, pretty much all of your questions, are going to be like those first 6 examples. There is one little question in your exercises that is a little bit harder, like this one down here, because it has 3 fractions in it. Okay, so all you would do is, let's just start with the first 2 fractions and get a common denominator for those. So 3 times 5 is going to be 15. So just taking those first 2 fractions, putting times them together, 15. Now multiply diagonally. 7t times 3, that's 21t. And 5 times t, that's 5t. Okay, now this third fraction, I'm just going to write it here at the end. And coincidentally, it already has a denominator of 15, which makes this nice and easy because all of them can go together into one fraction with a 15 on the bottom. All I do is go across the top and add and subtract. So 21t minus 5t, that's 16t, plus 2t makes 18t for my answer. But just remember to look out for simplifying. This 18 over 15, type it in your calculator, it can be simplified to be a 6t over 5. That's dividing the top and the bottom by 3. That's it.